So I have another part of my metalworking project in the mudroom that I'd like to share with you guys. Now, it's important to work closely with your client, or in this case my wife, and take her thoughts and interpret them and turn them into reality. Now, that big smile you just saw there is for one reason and one reason only. It's because she's so excited about this new Slugger chop saw and these perfect miters that it can make on metal. So after I pre-cut all the lengths of steel tubing that I needed, I pre-welded 2 of the outside corners together. At that point, I was able to lay them both down and use my magnets to square them up and double check it with a tape measure before I would weld the other 2 corners together. After I had the frame all welded up, I clamped it down to the bench and ground the corners smooth. These other little pieces I'm cutting up and welding on are actually some miniature angle, and they're going to hold the corkboard in place and also give the frame a little more definition. Now, that center piece of steel you see there is there for a twofold reason. One, it's to hold magnets in between the 2 pieces of corkboard, and 2, I only have corkboard that's 18 inches in width, so it's hiding the joint of the cork. Here I'm using a flap sander on the angle grinder to make the frame consistent all the way around. The last thing I do before I finish it is I put this wire wheel on my new fine grinder, and I go over the whole frame to give it a little more of a consistent rubbed look. Now finally, for the finish, I'm using a cold bluing process by Birchwood Casey, and I will apply 1 coat. The reason I'm using 1 coat is because I like the more inconsistent look with the product. The more coats of bluing you put on, the more consistent and darker it gets. Now, unfortunately, I should have drilled this out before, but I totally forgot to pre-drill it for the stud locations, so I'm doing it now. Now, all I did with the screws is give them a quick dunk in the solution, and it changed the color to match the frame perfectly. I decided to countersink the screws by hand so I have better control, so the head of the screw ends up perfectly flush with the frame. Now onto the corkboard. I like to use sheetrock underneath the corkboard. It's really flat and consistent, unlike what a lot of people like to use as Homosoap board, and I don't find that the cork sticks to that very well. So I'm using a peel and stick cork and applying it to the drywall. I like to apply a few dabs of construction adhesive between the corkboard and the wall. That'll just keep it more sound, and use some sticks to hold it up off my chair rail and screwed it in, and there you have it. It's all done. And as usual, before I could even get my tools cleaned up out of the room, my wife had it all loaded up with the stuff she wanted to put on it. I want to thank you for watching my video and ask you to please subscribe to my channel so you can be sure to see my cool projects that I'm going to be working on.